All right, today we're jumping into Kabbalah. It's this ancient, really fascinating stream of Jewish mysticism that tackles some of the biggest questions you can ask, like what's the true nature of God and, the entire universe. So let's kick things off with a huge question, one that philosophers and scientists have wrestled with for ages. If you could rewind everything, go back past the Big Bang, before time even existed, what was there? What was in the very, very beginning? Well, Kabbalah offers a profound, kind of mind-bending answer. And it all starts with a concept called Ein Sof. Now, this is super important. Ein Sof isn't a name for God. I mean, think about it. How can you possibly name something that has no limits, no features? It's more of a description for a reality that is so totally infinite, so simple that it's way beyond our ability to really get our heads around, let alone describe with words. And right away, this brings up a giant puzzle, doesn't it? If the ultimate reality, this Ein Sof, is just a state of pure, simple oneness, then how in the world did it create our universe? A universe that's finite, incredibly complex, and just full of so much stuff. How do you get all of this from a state of simple oneness? So here's the Kabbalistic answer. The infinite light of Ein Sof didn't just create our world in one big flash. Instead, it kind of unfolded. It happened through a series of 10 stages, or divine emanations, that are known as the Sephirot. Okay, so it's really important to get this straight. These are not 10 different gods. Not at all. A great way to think about it is like this. Imagine pure white light. That's Ein Sof. The Sephirot are like a prism that takes that single, unknowable light and refracts it into a spectrum of 10 different qualities that we can actually understand. And together, they form the building blocks of, well, everything. So how does it all start? Well, not with a physical act, but in a realm of pure thought. First, you have Keter, which is just the original desire for creation to even exist. That will then sparks Hakma, like a raw, undefined flash of inspiration. And finally, Bina takes that shapeless idea and gives it structure, kind of like an architect drafting the very first blueprint. From that world of pure intellect, creation then starts flowing into the emotional and ethical realms. This is where the blueprint really gets its character, and you can see this incredible balance at play. You've got Hesed, this expansive force of loving kindness, and it's perfectly balanced by Gevura, the contracting force of discipline. And when those two are in harmony, you get Tiferet, beauty. So, after all that intellectual and emotional energy has been channeled and perfectly balanced, we finally arrive at the culmination of the whole process, the 10th and final Sephirah, Malkut. And Malchut is the kingdom. It's the final stop. It's where all that divine potential becomes the actual physical reality that you and I can see and touch and experience every single day. Basically, it's our world. But this is where it gets really, really cool. This whole abstract mystical map of creation has a fascinating connection to a story that a lot of us grew up with, the 7 days of creation in the book of Genesis. Kabbalists actually mapped those 7 emotional Sephirot directly onto the 7 days of creation. The idea is that each day's creative act wasn't just random. It was the physical expression of a specific divine quality. So, for instance, the creation of light on day 1, that's seen as the ultimate expression of Hesed, or loving kindness. So you see, the creation of light on day 1 corresponds to Hesed, kindness, the ultimate act of giving. The separation of the waters on day 2, that reflects Gevura, or discipline and boundaries. In this way of seeing things, the abstract tree of life is actually the hidden, mystical blueprint for the biblical story of creation. This entire system does something really brilliant. It helps solve a central paradox. How can God be both totally beyond our understanding and also intimately present in our lives? Kabbalah says, well, God is both. The Ein Sof aspect is the transcendent, unknowable God. But the divine presence that actually dwells in our world, in Malchut, is called the Shekinah. It's the immanent, accessible, and often feminine aspect of God that we can connect with. But here's the crucial point, the real takeaway. This whole cosmic process isn't just some ancient story. In Kabbalah, creation is ongoing. It's still happening. And humanity? We have a vital part to play in it. And this leads to one of the most radical and frankly empowering ideas in all of mysticism.
It suggests that our actions here on Earth don't just stay here. They literally ripple upwards, affecting the flow of divine energy through the Sephirot themselves.
So what does that mean in practice? It means that when we act with compassion, when we act with justice, we're helping to balance the divine energy that's flowing through the cosmos. Our choices matter on a cosmic scale. This whole idea is known as tikkun ulam, which means repairing the world. We're active partners in the ongoing process of creation.
And that leaves us with a pretty profound question to reflect on. If the universe is still being formed, and if our actions are actually part of that formation, what kind of world are we building right now, today? Thanks for joining this explainer.